Best practices for ensuring partners maximize SaaS renewals revenue. We all want to provide our partners with the best experience when it comes to dealing with us, and really best practices is a way that we make this real, the way we make it relevant, the way we make it permanent and pertinent in the market. So Stuart, would you like to kick us off, please?
Yeah, certainly. Thanks, John. For me, best practices are all centered around the vendor and the partner being aligned on KPIs. Where there are differences, to start working out additional ones to provide a win-win situation. Probably best if I give an example of a story from a previous job here. I joined one company. I started on the first day of a quarter. I came in there and the place was littered with pizza boxes and takeaways. And I was quite shocked to find out that the renewals team had been working till 11:30 the previous night, closing out the quarter. And so I kind of wondered about this, and that particular company was 100% through channel. And the following week, I had an appointment with the biggest partner in the UK. And when I went in there, I was actually sat chatting to the guy, and I noticed on his desk, he actually had a pile of POs ready for that month that were for us. So I asked him about this, and basically he said to me, well, you know, you guys, your payment terms are 30 days from invoice. So based on that, I'm never going to send you any of these POs until the last minute, until it's due. Now, flip that on the other side, I have a team of people who were telling me that throughout the month and throughout the quarter, they were stressing all the time because they had this big hockey stick of POs coming in right at the end of the day. So quite simply, by talking through our KPIs, talking through what was important to us, what we ended up doing was the very next day, we changed our payment terms on our invoices to be 30 days from the date of renewal. And quite simply, that meant our finance team got the money on exactly the same day, but we got the POs really early in the main. And as we came towards quarter end, we were feeling a lot more comfortable about hitting our number. And even better than that, the guys all got to go home at a decent time on the last day of the quarter. So, you know, that's kind of what I'm talking about. I know we're going to talk more and more about KPIs as we go through, but each of the KPIs, as I say, there are KPIs for the partners and there are KPIs for the vendors. And unless both sides understand each other's business and what's important to them, it's very difficult to provide that alignment. So in summary, both sides should be open, explain what drives their businesses and the KPIs they have associated with that, and then work through it to get close alignment as possible to do business together.
Absolutely, and that's a very pertinent best practice, because how many of us on this phone have been or still in the situation where we have that hockey stick? So, you know, thanks for that observation, Stuart. Edmund, would you care to follow on from Stuart, please, sir?
Yeah, very much in alignment with what Stuart was saying is, I think that with the partner and the vendor, alignment has to happen. And I go back to understanding the roles and where they play. They need to be on the same page. They need to share playbooks. You know, how can a partner be successful if they don't understand the vendor's playbook? And so I think that's one best practice. But if they're going to be talking with the customer, the customer cannot be hearing two different stories or two value propositions. So they need to be on the same page. They need to be in alignment who plays what position, like a good football team or or any organized sport. Everyone needs to know their role. So I think that's critical.
Thanks, Edmund. Maciek.
Sure. From my experience, what I've seen in the past, what companies do really well is presenting those playbooks and educating partners on how to win the business initially. They're very good at upskilling partners when it comes to winning new logos. When it comes to renewals, vendors tend to drop the ball a little bit, and partners are many times left to their own devices. So whatever your internal renewals teams go by, whatever it is that your renewals managers are preaching to the renewals reps, make sure that the partners have exactly the same approach, that they've been educated on this and you're using the same strategies to secure renewals. And to Edmund's point, absolutely, that you cannot have two different value propositions, one coming maybe direct from an internal rep and something different coming from the partner. But there is a huge importance when it comes to multi-touch, I believe. Reaching out as the vendor about an upcoming renewal is absolutely of huge importance, because obviously this is your customer, but on the other hand, it is your partner's customer as well. So let's align on those as well, and make sure that that both of us are doing the same. Some vendors got really smart. You can see that in B2C, especially with software, when you do have a pop-up that your license is going to expire, your subscription or whatever. But some vendors are putting that into the software as well, because they want the users of that software or that service to go to their manager and say, have you seen our license or our service is going to expire in 30 days. If we don't renew ahead of time, we are going to have a problem here. I will not be able to continue my work. So there are loads of different things how you can touch the customer and let them know well in advance that the renewal is upcoming, but making sure that you're all aligned through the channel as well as direct is of utmost importance.
So, guys, here's what I've captured from your statements, and maybe I can sum up in one word. You've mentioned KPI alignments for both parties, very pertinent. Stuart, you mentioned best practice advice in terms of how we have to work together. Edmund, you talked about aligning business processes and making sure those are seen to be synergistic between the parties, and therefore also understanding your mutual wins. That all sounds like transparency. So at the end of the day, when we're working with these guys, it's got to be a situation where from the outset, best practice says, let's put adversarial approach in the box. Let's keep this towards something which is transparent. It's open. We're there to share. We're there to show the mutual benefit of these things. And that's going to allow us to actually try and cultivate over time and nurture the right best practice approaches. So, that's a summary that I captured from your feedback, and perhaps, we can discuss that in the Q&A later on with the broader audience. So thank you, gentlemen, for that. Brenda, we're going to take a little bit of a break here whilst you pull up the second poll of the session.
Okay, thank you, JB. So the next poll, or the next section of the webinar, is in and around the area of ease of doing business. So here we're asking you, how do you share renewals opportunities with your partners? So is it via emails and spreadsheets, via a homegrown tool that you might have developed in-house, via a renewals platform, and kudos to anyone using the Channel Mechanics one, if it's a different option, or if you don't share renewal opportunities with partners?